is almost, it's a guidebook. So again, we have the 4 characters. You can pick up the book and read chapters. They don't need to be read from, in sequential order. Talk to me, I think it was really unique about commitment capital. There are 5 types you've identified. And I've never read or thought of a concept like this when kind of packaging my board credentials or others. Speak to me about the commitment capital, please.
If you don't mind, Brenna, I'll touch briefly on the other 4, and then I'll spend more time on commitment capital. But
Yes.
The 2 capitals that you typically hear about when you go through any board readiness program, as one is human capital, and that talks about your education, your expertise, your experience throughout your career. That's the human capital side of things. And then we talk often about the social capital. That's your network, the people and boards are interested in your human capital and your social capital. The social capital side, they want your contacts, they want your connections, they want your help with the M&A and finding funding and different things like that, finding the right talent. Your social capital is a big part of it, and your social capital can help you get on a board as well. But those are the 2 that you often hear about. The other 3 that I wrote about, one is director capital. You don't hear much about that one, and that's similar to human capital. All these skills that you accumulated in education, you accumulated throughout your career that helped you along your career. Director capital is more narrow, and what are the experiences and education, like board readiness training, that you need specifically to become a director? And so that's director capital. Then I dove into cultural capital, which you don't hear much about. And cultural capital really looks at from back when you were 5 years old in elementary school, middle school, high school, college, and the experiences and the people you were surrounded by that you mirrored, you emulated, and the obstacles that you innately had to overcome back in those early years that you called upon either innately or on purpose, intentionally throughout your career to get you through some rough times through your education period and through your career. People that can call back and understand their cultural capital can use that to get on boards. That's cultural capital. And then the 5th capital was the missing link. And that's about commitment. The ability to do the things you need to do in order to get something done and call upon that. And I can give you an example.
Yes, please.
I have 2 different groups of women and directors and executives that have very similar outstanding CVs. And they all have gone through a board readiness program, and they all have completed some sort of certification. This group found their way on corporate boards. This group have been really trying to get on boards for up to 5 years to no avail. But when you look at them on paper, education, experience, and success-wise, they look similar. And the missing ingredient that I found via research was those who got on boards did something differently than those who didn't. And the majority of the ones who haven't found their way on boards, when they completed their programs, they were proud of themselves. They took copious notes and throughout the program, and they said, done. Let those board positions begin to come my direction. And those who actually ended up getting on boards, who also took copious notes, they were studious throughout the process, but then they went back home and they executed. They started to make trade-offs in their lives, and they started to do things differently. Some of them gave up TV on Wednesday nights, and they no longer watch the 3 Chicago shows. They traded that in so that they could begin to do things differently and find the time to do that reflection work and find the time to network differently and find the time. And so they started to hold themselves accountable via their commitment capital to get things done. To this date, I still have people that will say, Keith, I want to get on a private or a public board. And I would look at their background and I say, you know what you really need right now? You really need to serve on a nonprofit board to get some human capital experience while surrounding yourself with some incredible social capital that will see you in action.
Yeah.
And they said, Keith, I don't have time for a nonprofit board. Now, the NACD says the average board member, independent director, spends 250 hours a year on each board. And you're telling me you want me to help you find a private or a public board, and you don't have time to serve on a nonprofit. Let me tell you, you don't have time to be on a for-profit board, and you need to find your commitment capital to make the necessary trade-offs so you do have the times to dot your I's and cross your T's. That's what commitment capital is all about. And that was the missing ingredient.
I love it. So you coin it the missing link. The analog with business owners and founders is grit.
Yes.
Grit,
Yes.
right? Not to steal
Absolutely.
your thunder, but I get it. So I encourage those that are aspiring for their first or subsequent board positions to take a look at that.